boat's on fire.
Powerful storms caused chaos in Lee County.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, I haven't. This kind of rain so quick.
Roads looked more like rivers. Some looked even worse than when Hurricane Ian hit. We're taking you live across the county tonight to show you the damage, and our NBC2 First Alert meteorologist Rob Duns will explain why this was so unpredictable right now at 11.
Live, the news you count on. NBC2 News at 11.
You are looking at NBC2 First Alert live Doppler radar. The skies have cleared, but a historic amount of rain fell in some parts of Lee County this evening. Here's just one example of the kind of conditions in North Fort Myers. This is worse than what a lot of people in this area saw during Hurricane Ian. You can see drivers going through just a few inches of floodwater, but it was enough. This is on Hancock Bridge Parkway and Orange Grove Boulevard. And now some communities in Lee County are starting to see that water recede, but some more slowly than others. I'm NBC2 anchor Peter Bush, live in Cape Coral tonight off Chiquita Boulevard and Southwest 30th Street, where we have seen at least a dozen cars in just a half-mile stretch stalled out and stranded tonight. NBC2 has live team coverage for you tonight all across Lee County. NBC2's Madison Adams is in North Fort Myers, and reporters Hope Salmon and Rachel Whalen are in Cape Coral tonight. And in the NBC2 studio, we have NBC2's Christy Soto and NBC2 First Alert meteorologist Rob Duns explaining how much rain we saw tonight. Rob?
Yeah, this was just an astonishing event, Peter. And like you mentioned at the very top of the newscast, things are a lot quieter now. In fact, we do have only a few showers over the Gulf of Mexico that are moving toward the east and northeast. And as these move toward areas of western Collier County, those will be the first raindrops of the entire day for many backyards in Collier County, as some of these areas saw not one drop at all, which makes it even more astonishing when you look at what happened earlier this evening across Lee County. There was an astonishingly tight rain grading here and how much rain fell across these areas. As you see, the worst of it here moving right over the center of Cape Coral and then impacting big neighborhoods in North Fort Myers and Fort Myers with a lot of rain, especially considering it is the month of January, which typically is one of the driest times of year for our community. How much fell? Well, based on the radar estimates and from viewer reports all over the place, it is safe to say that in everything shaded in purple, there was 7 to 9 inches of rain falling in less than 4 hours. And for everywhere in red, it was between 3 and 6 inches, everything in yellow between 2 and 3, and then less than an inch just a few miles away from that. So a really, really incredible event. Why was it such a surprise? Well, we'll take a look at that and how this rain from tonight will make for some dense fog tomorrow in your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Rob. Back here on Chiquita Boulevard, this was one of the bullseyes for rainfall. And between Veterans Parkway and Southwest 32nd Street is where we saw cars in the median trying to get to the highest ground possible, but still stalled out. Now, you wouldn't think, okay, it's not such a big deal. I mean, look, you can see that car, the water's only halfway up to the tires. But we talked to one tow truck driver who said when she arrived earlier tonight, the water was above the hood of all of these cars. That's how bad it was. Look, watch this. Christine Horgan of Wanted Towing says this BMW is her 27th call of the night.
When I came to get this earlier, the water was above the hood.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so we couldn't get to it, but the waters have receded, so now we were able to get to it.
One of her first calls was her own daughter, Victoria.
I thought I could make it through.
That was the same story for Alex Hang's mom. He drove all the way from Fort Myers to get her car running again. Weren't you the good son, huh?
Yeah, I try to be. You know, she takes care of me, so I got to take care of her.
Christine Horgan says this is her busiest night in 6 years, and it's just getting started.
I think I have 7 more holding. It'll be a late night.
But she says at least she has her daughter with her now. She's going to definitely put her to work after mom bailed her out earlier this evening. Now, some more new video tonight gives you a really great perspective of just how high the floodwaters got. Look at this fire hydrant along Hancock Bridge Parkway in Orange Grove Boulevard in North Fort Myers. Fire hydrant halfway underwater. Now, a gas station along the same intersection is now closed tonight because of the storms. This video on your screen shows you just how much water was getting inside the store. Those are buckets filled to the brim. NBC2's Madison Adams is live at that mobile gas station tonight. Oh, not only a mess, but I mean, the business has to shut down for a while, Madison.
I can't hear anything. We had so much rain today that it caused part of this gas station awning to collapse. Take a look. Now there's a gaping hole in the roof of this gas station. Rain caused all of this damage, and thankfully no one was standing here when it happened, or they would have been seriously hurt. There are pieces of metal on this floor. And take a listen, that wasn't the only damage. The inside of this convenience store has even more damage. The roof in here also collapsed, and water was gushing everywhere. One of the employees tried to stop water from hitting the merchandise by placing buckets down, but it didn't work very well.
It was very intense. 2 hours of monsoon. Unbelievable.
Around 5 p.m. today, the mobile gas station located off Hancock Bridge Parkway and Orange Grove Boulevard partially collapsed.
Water is unbelievable.
The North Fort Myers Fire Department says that it was because of the heavy rain. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, I haven't. This kind of rain so quick, I have not seen that.
Were you guys expecting it today?
It was unforeseen. Had no idea it was coming.
But the awning at the gas station isn't the only thing that collapsed. Part of the interior roof collapsed too.
It was crazy. Crazy.
Luckily, no one is seriously hurt, but a cashier who works inside slipped and hit her head on a shelf. She tells me that she'll likely go to the emergency room to get checked out.
She bumped her head moving some baskets around trying to catch the rain.
Due to the collapse, the gas station is now closed. LCEC has also shut off electricity to prevent a fire from sparking.
I can't believe that roof collapsed like that. That's insane. I've been here 16 years and I haven't seen a storm like that.
The cashier told me that this interior roof needed to be replaced after Hurricane Ian, but hasn't been yet. And today was the last straw, causing it to collapse and water to go everywhere. I'm live here in North Fort Myers, Madison Adams, NBC2.
Madison, thank you. More incredible video tonight of a boat fire. Neighbors told us that they think this was caused by a lightning strike. This video was captured along the canal on Southwest 14th Place near El Dorado Parkway West. Our crews went to the area trying to find the owners of that boat. We did not have any luck, but we will try again tomorrow. And more new video tonight of cars submerged in a Cape Coral pond. It's scary to think about what the people inside those cars must have thought when they crashed in. They probably couldn't even see where the road ended. This happened along Santa Barbara Boulevard, Veterans Parkway. That's where NBC2's Rachel Whalen is live and local tonight. Rachel talked to one of the driver's family members. How are they doing, Rachel?
Well, this is exactly why we say not to drive in flood waters. I want you to take a look at this truly chilling scene, but thankfully that we have learned that one woman was in this car and she made it out okay. But just look at how scary it must have been for her. I mean, this is a retention pond here, which obviously got flooded with all of this water, and you can see that there's a road back there. You can imagine that maybe she could have been driving through those waters, didn't realize how deep it was, that there was a pond here, and just drove right through here and got stuck. And that is what can happen when you drive in these floodwaters. We say turn around, don't drown, for a reason. And what you see there is the hatch sticking out. Now, we've been here for a while. A couple hours ago, it was the car completely submerged, just the hatch out. The water has receded a little bit, so we're able to see more of the car, but still, nonetheless, a very chilling scene. We also saw another car at the other end of this retention pond, but crews were able to get that one out. We're also told that the people in there were okay, thank God. But yeah, so this is the scene. Once again, thankfully, no one was hurt. And just always, turn around, don't drown, don't drive through these floodwaters. It's nothing to mess around with. And for now, I'm reporting in Cape Coral. Rachel Whalen, NBC2.
Back here live on Chiquita Boulevard and Southwest 30th Street. I want to show you what's happening behind us. There is a pickup truck that got stuck. Now, you would think a pickup truck could make it through these floodwaters no problem, but a pickup truck went into one of the swales. Cape Coral has a lot of those on the side of the roads to collect water, and sometimes you can't tell that there's a little bit of a dip there and how deep it is. But even a pickup truck just got stuck, and now it seems like he's called a buddy with another truck, maybe a bigger truck. He's backed up, tying a rope to it, and they're going to try and pull him out of that ditch. But that is how deep the water is. You just can't tell from where I'm standing. I mean, I'm in a foot of water. It looks like it's no big deal. But as the road dips, and a lot of the roads do that around here, this is Cape Coral, very close to the coastline. The elevation is almost nothing. There are spots where not even pickup trucks could make it through. Now, I want to show you some more incredible video tonight. Honestly, this might be the most memorable video of the night for me. Earlier today, a viewer sent this to me. You see a nurse from Trilogy Home Healthcare. Her name is Megan. She used a paddleboard to get to a patient, doing a house call on a paddleboard. That is one dedicated healthcare worker. Trilogy Home Care is located here in Cape Coral along Cape Coral Parkway near Agua Linda Boulevard. Just incredible job by Megan there tonight. Staying in the South Cape, see a couple of cars submerged in the middle of an intersection. This video was along Southwest 32nd Street. One of the cars even moved a little bit from the strong wave as another SUV drove by. And those cars still stuck tonight. A lot of drivers waiting, trying to get through the intersection. Hopefully they can get home tonight. A lot of cars got stuck in Fort Myers as well. This was not just Cape Coral. This is video from US 41 and Edison Avenue. Drivers going as slow as they could to try and get several other cars in the far left and the right lanes because those drivers broke down. Rob, how much water?
Well, I believe Peter was about to ask how much water does it take to do something like this, and it takes a lot less than most of us think. And the events of tonight's flash flooding should serve as a reminder that whether it is July or it is January, in Florida, especially South Florida, we have to be prepared for the possibility of flooding. And this can happen, when not even a whole lot of water on the road. If you're going fast enough, about 50 miles an hour, it takes about 1/10 of an inch to give you a hydroplaning event. And as we saw earlier tonight in the Cape and Fort Myers, you will lose control of your car once the water gets up to about 6 inches. Remember that the city saw up to 9 inches of rain earlier tonight. So what happened in most cases here tonight would be floating cars when the water depths got up to around a foot. So at that point, you have totally lost control and you are at the mercy of the currents in that part of wherever you happen to be flooded out. Back to you.
All
Thanks,
new.
Rob.
Tonight at 11.
NBC2 is continuing our team coverage after heavy rains causes major flooding in Cape Coral and North Fort Myers. Next, we are taking you inside a home flooded tonight, talking to the homeowner who says this doesn't even compare to Hurricanes Ian and Irma. More new video tonight of flooding along Pelican Boulevard in Cape Coral. Now, this video was taken by the baseball fields, and you can see this red truck drive through this flooded road, making a wave as it goes by. One couple actually got stuck on Pelican Boulevard and had to walk about 2 miles in that floodwater to get help. NBC2's Hope Salmon is live tonight along Southeast 27th Street and Santa Barbara Boulevard, which is along the path that couple walked.
And right now, things look pretty normal, but that was not the case when we got here around 8 o'clock tonight. We met a couple that was walking through knee-deep water just behind me. They said that their car had stopped about 2 miles up the way, and they were walking through the rain, the storm, that flood, trying to get to family members who can help get them home.
We didn't make it.
Jamie and Diana Villadolid were on their way to celebrate Jamie's uncle's 50th wedding anniversary. But as they said, they didn't make it.
So we were on our way, and the road was just so flooded. We just couldn't get through it.
Their car ended up getting stuck at Pelican Boulevard and Gleason Parkway. For 90 minutes, they waited in the relentless rain in their car for a tow truck.
We're going to have our son pick us up, but then we heard it was just as bad. All the way up Santa Barbara.
When I met them, they were at the end of their journey to Wawa on Santa Barbara and Veterans Parkway, where they met the same uncle that was waiting for them.
Told us we can't be in a car while they're towing our car.
Now their new plans are to get out of their soaking wet clothes. When we were driving around earlier today through North Fort Myers and Cape Coral, most of the roads we were driving through were completely flooded, and we were trying not to get stuck ourselves and saw so many cars on the road stuck. But now, as you can see, things are receded and they are seeming more normal, at least where we are right now. I'm reporting live in Cape Coral. Hope Salmon, NBC2.
Live first.
Breaking at 11, I want you to check this out. A line of half a dozen cars were stopped in the middle of Winkler Avenue in Fort Myers. Each driver changing flat tires after hitting a huge pothole in the road. The drivers say there was another 4 or 5 cars at a gas station changing tires off Colonial Boulevard, also victims of the same pothole. Earlier this month, we told you about major pothole problems across Lee County. You can report potholes to the county or the city online. NBC2 is continuing our team coverage of tonight's flooding in North Fort Myers. I want you to check this out. Water making it into a home on Evergreen Road. This is just off of US 41. NBC2's Sarah Mankiewicz is actually speaking with the owner tonight, who says this was worse than both Hurricanes Ian and Irma.
Well, the water is coming into people's homes here in North Fort Myers, and I tried walking into one of the homes, but let me show you just how deep it was. My boot here is about probably a foot tall, and it went all the way in and past, all the way up to about my knees. I'm 5'1", and so let me just show you. I mean, just piles and piles of water, and now people are dealing with how to get all this water out of their house and deal with the damage from it.
Probably the 15th shot vac.
Rachel Summerall never expected this much water to fill her home.
Pieces of my floor have flooded outside now that came up.
Especially since Hurricane Ian didn't even flood her home this much.
Either the 2 hurricanes I've been in here with, we never had flooding like this.
Summerall isn't the only one shocked tonight.
There wasn't that much water. There was only like a little water in front, but this time it was coming both ways.
Water coming in so fast, almost every room in Dave Wilson's home is soaked.
All my rooms are soaked. Every room, every 3 rooms. The bathroom.
Outlets underwater, dangerously sparking.
It did, and I got zapped pretty good. You can see my hands still purple.
Wilson says his wife passed away in November, and now he's left picking up the pieces alone.
Crying. A lot of crying, depression right now, anxiety build up. That's like what I'm going to do.
Now he's hoping someone will lend a helping hand.
It's just a nightmare in here. These are the rooms I need help getting the water out.
I'm local in North Fort Myers, Sarah Mankiewicz, NBC2.
Peter Bush back out here live on Chiquita Boulevard. I want to show you just what's going on in the median here near Southwest 32nd Street. 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars. I mean, I see another 5 beyond that, just in this 30-yard stretch. All of these cars stalled out. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this newscast, you're thinking, okay, what? It looks fine. A tow truck driver told me that the water was up to the hood on these cars when they came out earlier tonight. Obviously, you cannot drive through that, but a lot of people got caught off guard. And I want to bring in NBC2 First Alert meteorologist Rob Duns to find out why that is. I mean, this honestly surprised all of us. So, Rob, what exactly happened here?
Yeah, absolutely. There was no forecast data supporting 9 inches of rain falling in a stationary thunderstorm over Fort Myers and Cape Coral today. The weather is going to do what the weather is going to do. And sometimes on such small scale boundaries like this, it's simply impossible to tell more than an hour or 2 ahead of time as to what's going on. If we look back and reanalyze things, though, we can see a few clues as to what happened tonight. By the way, at the time the worst of the flooding was going on, areas up the Caloosahatchee were at their high tide point. So already we were at a disadvantage because as the water runoff started, there was less places for the water to go. But if you look at the atmosphere, compared to this time last night, temperatures are between 7 and 12 degrees warmer because we have this very humid breeze out of the south. The reason this very humid breeze is out of the south and rapidly increasing our dew points, the humidity in the air, is because we are to the south of a warm front, which right now is actually up by the Carolinas. The storm system itself is a long ways away from us. What this has us, though, though, is inside the warm sector of this storm system. So out ahead of the cold front, this air mass is very humid and very unsettled. We had a similar situation last week, as you recall, when very abruptly the temperatures and the humidity spiked in our area. But there's something else to look at, and this kind of gets into the weeds of atmospheric science. But if you were to analyze something called vorticity, which is looking at very small little boundaries and little upward spin in the atmosphere, if you look real closely here, there was a very fine line of higher vorticity that just happened to line up about 5 o'clock tonight over Fort Myers and Cape Coral. And wouldn't you know it, that's nearly exactly where the worst of the rain fell tonight. And as we talked about during the top of the newscast, somewhere between 7 and 9 inches worth of rain. Now, these little vortexes come through all the time, but they don't cause 7 to 9 inches worth of rain. So what happened tonight was a very, very rare event. Multiple things just happened to line up at the exact right time and cause this horrible flooding, flash flooding event across the center of Lee County, and super localized, of course, to a handful of neighborhoods with little impactful weather north of that and no rain in points south of that over areas of Collier County. All right. Just for now, we do need to turn the page here because all this rain on the ground has added an extra amount of moisture to the atmosphere, and already it's leading to some areas of dense fog in our community. This is a live look right now from the city of Fort Myers where the visibility is already going down. A dense fog advisory is active for everyone from Arcadia to Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda and southward from North Fort Myers all the way to Bonita Springs. So if your morning commute tomorrow involves US 17, US 41, Interstate 75, telling you right now, leave early tomorrow because the fog could be locally dense and there could still be some standing water in many parts of Cape Coral, like Peter is showing you live right now from the city of Cape Coral. Our visibility tracker keeps visibility low through about 9 o'clock in the morning. Thereafter, a lot of the land fog should mix away, but there could be some persistent sea fog for a good chunk of the day. Let's reset the deck, take a regional view. Again, between now and 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning is when the fog will be most dense across our area. It will persist for the first few hours of the morning on land and then may persist all the way through lunchtime in our coastal areas over the Gulf of Mexico. So boaters, sea fog could be real tough tomorrow. Make sure you're paying very close attention to what's going on. On top of all this, the humidity not going anywhere, at least for the first half of the day, because now there's a cold front moving our direction. This will also offer us the opportunity for some thunderstorms, mostly early on Tuesday evening, though we do not expect widespread severe weather in areas like Cape Coral where we had such terrible flooding tonight. If we get a few bouts of rain to go over those same areas, once again, there could be some localized flooding with tomorrow's front. Temperature-wise, a big shift here. In fact, behind the front for Wednesday, numbers only top out in the mid-60s. There's another warm front lifting toward the north, though, on Thursday and Friday. And then finally, some nice and stable weather by the weekend with much cooler temperatures. Don't go anywhere. More news and complete coverage live from Cape Coral continues right after this.
Donald Trump projected to win the first caucus of the 2024 election. The former president has a commanding lead with nearly 51% of the vote. Results are still coming in. About 90% of the votes are in, and Trump's saying he's honored by this win already. Now it's still a close race for second place. Governor Ron DeSantis with a slight lead over former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. He's up just about 2,000 votes. Vivek Ramaswamy is in a distant third with about 8% of the vote, and he just announced he is dropping out of the race. We'll be right back with more team coverage of the flooding we saw in our community.
More new video tonight. Lee County's Barrier Islands also saw a lot of rain. Check out this on St. James City on Pine Island. An NBC2 viewer also caught this one on Sanibel. Cars still able to pass by, but never a good idea if you can't see the actual road. Some people riding their bikes down that flooded road. We'll be right back on NBC2. A lot of our viewers in Cape Coral, North Fort Myers, parts of Lee County that just got pounded by rain on this MLK Junior Day are never going to forget this. 7 to 9 inches of rain in some spots. Dozens, if not hundreds of cars stalled out. Don't forget, there's going to be a lot of fog in the morning, so give yourself a little extra time. Thanks for watching NBC2. Our coverage continues tomorrow morning on NBC2 News Today.